One player who has left City now is Claudio Echeverri, who's joined Bundesliga club Bayer Leverkusen on a season-long loan deal. Clubs including Roma and Borussia Dortmund also interested in Echeverri. They wanted to include an option to buy in their deal, but City were reluctant to agree those terms, and Leverkusen have instead agreed just a straight loan for the 25-26 season. And Echeverri will hope to play regularly now for a club that will be competing in the Champions League and one that's also managed by former Man United boss Erik ten Hag now as well. So that'll be interesting to see how he manages them next season. Now, actually, very as well, he's been handed a key shirt number at Leverkusen, the number 9. So that may suggest that he's firmly in
Yeah.
Leverkusen's first team plans for next season. And he made his debut as a late substitute in a 2-1 home defeat to Hoffenheim last weekend. So Stephen, what do you make of this move for Echeverri? How excited are you by it for him? And is this one that suits all parties? And you're hopeful that he can be a success over in Germany.
Yeah, Echeverri is a cracking talent. I think the football that hopefully they'll play over in Leverkusen will suit him. Didn't he got on at the weekend? I have no idea how he personally got on. I just
Only
know they
played
lost.
for only played for I think 6 minutes as a
Oh, okay.
substitute,
Well, there we
so
go.
not much, no.
There we go. Yeah, we won't take too much into that. I know they lost Leverkusen, and Leverkusen, of course, an awful lot of players have left the club. Uh, Quite famously, Wirtz has gone to Liverpool, their star man, and so on, and it's going to be a big change for them. This, with a new manager and so on, not the most successful manager at Man United, a little bit maligned, but of course he's got a reputation as a good coach over in the Eredivisie with Ajax and so on. We'll see how he gets on over there. I think the Bundesliga is going to suit Claudio Echeverri. I think he's probably right to turn down a loan to Girona directly. He wanted to go Roma, but I think the Bundesliga is even more perfect for them. Perfect for him. The energy and the sort of sprightliness of the Bundesliga tends to favour young attackers. They just seem to have a lot of fun there because it isn't quite as tight as the Premier League, and it's not quite as physical as the Premier League either. It's you run a lot there, but it's a little bit more open. Teams are a little bit more adventurous, and the dynamism and I guess the spark that Echeverri has to his game, I think will suit the Bundesliga. I think he's going to really enjoy uh, being lent on as well in that league and having time on the ball. And we'll see. Obviously, there's a lot of quality around him. Garcia, ex-City lad there, good midfielder. You got Grimaldo, bomb forward, who he'll enjoy playing with. You got obviously Schick up front. They're a good side, Leverkusen. And I expect that he will. It could go really well for him. If he gets in the team regularly, he could be the kind of talent where he's getting 15 goals and 10 assists or something like that for Leverkusen, and that's the kind of person all of a sudden he's worth 75 million. In the transfer market. If you have one season like that as an Argentinian wonder kid, for a team like Leverkusen, everyone wants to buy you. Then look at Gittins getting a 55 million, 60 million pound move, Sancho what he did, and so on. Um, Look at Marmoush, look at Etikike, and then Wirtz, the rest of them, all these young attackers who've got so much skill and dynamism, getting big moves after a season or two of playing at a high level. What's to say Echeverri couldn't, stamp his authority on the Bundesliga a little bit, and come back to Manchester City in a year from now looking like close to a finished product. So it's very possible. It depends, obviously, on how he plays, where he plays, and so on. I think there's spots for him. I can see him, you know, potentially where Teller played the other day. Sort of maybe he'll play as a false nine or something like that. But yeah, I've got a feeling Echeverri, this is the right move for him. I don't think Girona would have been a good shout. I think the Liga would have been a bit too. I don't know. I think Girona in particular, 4-0 the other day, like Vitor Reis, having to try and stem that tide of negativity towards Girona. I think it would have been a lot for Echeverri. He would have found himself on the bench a lot. I think the 9 shirt for him clearly is a show of approval from Ten Hag. And yeah, I'm expecting it'll be a good move for him.
Yeah, and do you think, if he is going to be a major success at Leverkusen, do you think that City will then look to try and integrate him into Guardiola's team for next season? What do you think the plan is really for there? Do you think another loan move would be possible, or do City really would like to have him in that first team for next season? Obviously, it's early to say, but do you think that's maybe the long-term plan for City?
Well, if he smashes the Bundesliga, then you have to bring him back. You
Yeah.
just have to. Like, you'd be silly not to. I don't know who would go, who would move, but it's impossible to predict. We might be sat here in a year from now and saying, well, Doku didn't play much this year for whatever reason, or Marmoush didn't play much this year, or Bob didn't kick on, and one of those players is about to leave in 12 months because football's so unpredictable. You just never know who's going to be here, and then if one of those guys goes because it's just not happened for them, the returning Argentinian wonder kid from Bundesliga who's grabbed loads of goals. absolutely will be in for a shout. Then with his at that point, experience that he's gained over there. But you just don't know. You just don't know how well he does. And it'd be how well he does and how poorly someone else has to do for him to get that chance. Not like too badly, but if someone just has an off season, do not be surprised whatsoever if Echeverri, if he plays really well. Lots of ifs here and maybes. But if he does, he'll get his chance. And I think Guardiola's already shown that he likes him anyway, and there'll only be one season left after this for Guardiola as well. And I think he'd fancy, playing with Echeverri if he has a season that turns heads.